everybody, and welcome to this episode of my Java game tutorial series. In this episode, we're going to work on the inventory. Now in this episode, we're going to learn how to add items to inventory, of course, and how to move them around. So by the end of this tutorial, this is what it's going to look like. So you can move all these items around. You can have as many as you want, and you can move anywhere in the inventory. If you close it and open it up again, it saves every position. And you can put them together, for example, and the amounts will be remembered, and like that. So, without further ado, I think we should get working on this, so let's go. Alright, so once we are inside the inventory, the very first thing we're going to do is we're going to add the ability to open and close the inventory with a button. So to do this, we're going to go to the top of the inventory class, and we're going to create a new value, a new boolean actually, and call it isOpen, like this. I set it to false to start. Now, if you want the inventory to be open when you start the game, just set that to true. It's pretty simple. So now in the tick method, we want to add an if statement, and in here we want to do if isOpen. So if isOpen is set to true, we want it to tick all of the item slots, and later on everything that we're doing in the tick method. And in the render, we're going to do the exact same thing. Now we only want it to render when it is open. There we go. Like this. Quickly indent all of these. Like this. Oh, okay. And fix that. Alright. So now we have that done, we have to make sure we set the isOpen value. So to do this, we're going to go into Key Manager. And underneath all of this code here, that sets the player's direction, we're going to do an if statement. And we're going to do e.getKeyCode. Keycode. If it's equal to keyEvent dot vk. Now set this to whatever you want to open and close inventory. I'm going to use e for this, okay? Now inside this, we're going to check if it is not open, like this. Then we want to open it, so we want to do inventory dot isOpen. Oh. What's the problem here? Do we have the isOpen? Yeah. Well, we want to make sure, sorry about this, we want to make sure the boolean is static. So now we can go inventory dot isOpen, and we want to make sure we add inventory before this one here. No, we're going to set it to true. There we go. And else, now this is if the inventory is already open. This. There we go. Then we want to set inventory.isOpen to false. And there we go. So now when we run this game, like so, you should be able to see that we can open and close the inventory by pressing E. There we go. So now, the next step is we're going to add some stuff to the item slot class. Now, right now we're only rendering the item slot. We're not actually rendering the item if there is one. So to do this, we're just going to go down below everything in the render method, and we're going to do an if statement. And then in here, we're going to make sure that the item stack is not null. Now we don't want to try to render anything if there is nothing in the item stack. It's not equal to null. There we go. Then we want to do g.drawImage. There we go. And the image is going to be item stack dot getItem dot texture. There we go. Now this will just get the item stack's item, and then in there just get the texture. It's pretty simple. So for the X, we're just going to set it to X, and the Y, we're going to just set it to Y. And the width and the height, we're just going to set to slot size. Like this, and like this. There we go. And the observer is obviously just going to be null, like that. Okay. So now what we want to do is we also want to render the amount. Now this is going to require a little bit more work, because we want to be able to change the size of this. So the way we're going to do that is we're going to go into the play state. We're going to go below the world, and we're going to do public, static, font, and we're going to call it my font, like this. Then inside the init method, we're going to do my font below where we create the world, we're going to do my font equals a new font. There we go. And we're going to set the type to serif like this. Now you can set this to whatever you want, but we'll just use serif for now. We can polish it up later. We're going to do font dot bold, like for the attribute. See? And then we are going to do the size. So this is going to be 20 for now. You can change all of these values later. It doesn't really matter now. Then in the render method, below where we set the color, we're going to do g dot set font like this, or set to my font, just like that. So now we can close that up because we're done in that class. And down here we can do g dot draw string. The string is going to be the item stack. No, we're going to do integer dot toString. Now this will change an integer to a string. Pretty self-explanatory. And we are going to set these. We're going to, in here, enter item stack dot amount dot get amount. There we go. The x is going to be x plus slot size minus 20. The y is going to be y plus slot size minus 10. There we go. So now this just sets the position of the string. So now we should be done in this class, so we can close it up. Now we're going to go back into the inventory. Now what we're going to do is we're going to detect to see if the mouse is pressing inside one of the item slots. So in the tick method, at the very beginning, before we render all of the item slots, what we are going to do is we are going to create a new rectangle. So rectangle temp equals a new rectangle like this, and we're going to set the x and the y. We want to set this equal to the size of the to the size of the mouse actually. So we're going to do mouse manager dot mouse x and mouse manager dot mouse y. And for the width and height, we're just going to enter 1 and 1. Nothing bigger than that. Okay, and now inside of the item slots, where we render or where we take all of the item slots, what we're going to do is we're going to create another rectangle. This is going to be temp2, which is equal to a new rectangle. There we go, and we're going to do is.getX. And now you might not have this is.getX method, sorry about this, but in the item slot, all we're going to just simply do is we're going to go onto a new line and type in get, control space, and you should get x and get y. You just want to quickly add those, and then we're done. So that's all you need to do in item slot. Now we can do is.getx and is.getY. There we go. And for the width and the height, we're going to obviously just do item slot dot slot size and item slot dot slot size. There we go. So now we're going to check if mouse manager dot is clicked. Now this is it checks if the mouse is pressed. Now what we're going to do is we're just going to add a little safety. I'll explain this later, but there's no real explanation needed right now. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a private boolean like this at the very top, and this is going to be named has been pressed like this, and is going to be set to false, which we'll do automatically. So now in here we're going to make sure it is clicked and has been pressed is equal to false, so it has not been pressed like this. So now in here we're going to set has been pressed equal to true like this, and now we're going to check for collision. So if temp2 dot contains temp like this, this will basically check if the mouse is inside one of the slots. Then what we're going to do is we're going to go up to the very top once again, and we're going to create a private item slot cur selected slot. There we go. And now we're going to go back down here, and we're going to check if curseSelected slot is not equal to null, or is equal to null actually. Then in there, we're going to check to see if item, actually, we're going to do this outside of the curseSelected slot, so we're going to check if item, is dot get item stack does not equal null. We want to make sure the item inside this is actually not null. There we go. And then inside the, where we check if the curseSelected slot is equal to null, we want to do curseSelected slot equals is, and then we want to do is dot. And here we have to create a new method in the item slot class, because we have this add item. Now this will basically return if we can stack it, and if we can't, it'll return false, right? But what we want to do is we want to just be able to set the actual add item at the actual item. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a public void set item like this. And what we're going to do in here is we are going to just take in an item stack item like this, and in here we're just going to do this dot item stack equals item like this, and then that's it for that method. So now we're going to save that and go back to our inventory class. So now what we're going to do is we're going to check to see if is dot add item, and we're going to do, actually what we want to do is right now we just want to set it to null. This will be on the other side, so we're going to do null like this. Sorry about that. If, no, we don't want to do an if, we want to do is dot set item to null like this. So now the item is removed and it's set as the curseSelected slot like this. Okay? So now what we want to do is if the item stack is null, actually we want to do if it is null like this. Actually not. Now if the item stack is null, that means we want to place the item. So we will do an else statement right here. And in here, we're going to do some complicated stuff. So we're going to check if, of course, the curseSelected slot is not equal to null. And actually, let me just check real quick here. Sorry. Okay, so we don't want to do the else statement right here. We actually want to go out one more to where we check if the item stack is null. Now if it's not null, we want to do an else. That means there is already an item there, right? Actually, if it is null, then that means there is no item there. So what we're going to do is we're going to check to see if the curseSelected slot is equal to null. And we want to make sure it's not equal to null, like this. And if it's not equal to null, what we want to do is we're going to do an if statement, and we're going to do is dot add item, and in here we're just going to do curseSelected slot dot get item for the item dot get item stack dot get item. There we go. And we want to copy this over for the amount, and we just want to do get amount like this. There we go. So now that should stack the item. Now if it's not stackable, we also want to do something for that. So if it returns false, I'm going to do an else statement after this. I'm going to do is dot dot set item. I'm going to set it to is, just like that. No, not is dot set item. We want to set it to the curseSelected slot. And at the very end here, what we just want to do is we want to set curseSelected slot equal to null. Like that. And now what's the problem? Oh, did I mess up? Let's check in the item slot real quick. No. Oh, okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to do curSelectedSlot.get item stack. Sorry about that. So now that should be it for that. So outside of this item slot stuff, outside of everything, what we want to do is we want to deal with this has been pressed. So at the very end here, just when we're about, like just inside of the is open, like this, we want to check if the has been pressed and mouse manager.is clicked, like this. Then it's not clicked actually. There you go. Then we want to set has been pressed equal to false, yep. Now we want to just quickly, in the render method, check to see if the current selected slot is not equal to null. If it's not equal to null, what we want to simply do is just render it and make it follow the mouse. So what we're going to do after we render all the item slots, we're going to check it if current selected slot is not equal null. We are going to g.draw image, like this. And we're going to draw curSelected slot dot get item stack dot texture. Don't dot get item dot get texture. Dot get item dot texture. And for the mouse X, we just want to do mouse manager dot mouse X. And for the Y, we're just going to do mouse manager dot mouse Y. There we go. So now we're just going to draw the amounts. We're going to do g dot draw string, and we're just going to copy curSelected slot dot get item stack, but we're just going to do get amount, and we want to make sure we put this into a string dot integer dot toString, sorry, dot toString, like that, and we want to just encase this in it, like so. And for the X and the Y, we're just going to do mouse manager dot mouse X plus 27, and for the Y, we're going to do mouse manager dot mouse Y plus 33, like that. So now, if we run this, it should work. So we'll see if it does. Now it would work, but we don't actually have any items. So we're going to do a really temporary solution. Right here, we're in the constructor. At the very end, we're going to add a to-do. We're going to just do remove this. Now this is basically just like a reminder, and it'll show us over here. Oh, and you can't see it, but it'll show you over by the scroll bar. It'll show like a blue thing, so you know to remove that. So it's just kind of like a sticky note, you know, so you can remember stuff. And now in here, we're just going to do item slots dot get at 0 dot add item, and the item is going to be a new item stick. There we go. And the amount we can just set to whatever we want. We'll go with 3 for this one. There we go. And now we're going to copy this, paste it below. Going to set it to 1. So now we have 2 slots, and we can just set the amount to whatever we want. So now if we run it, like this, open up the inventory, we should see these sticks. Now if you press here, we get an error. So let's fix that real quick. It is a no pointer exception, I am guessing. Let's see, where is it? In the inventory. Okay. Alright, so I'm sorry. I think I've found the problem. Now, this is a really stupid mistake. You probably caught it way before I did. But right here, in the item slot, this should not be an item slot. It should be an item stack. I know. Now, this is going to give us a whole bunch of errors here. But basically, all we want to do here is we want to do, in this one here where it gives us the error on the IS, we're going to do is.getItem stack. And on all these others, we're just going to remove the .getItem stack. There we go. Like right here, just everywhere. Like this. So now, when we run this, it might still give us an error, but this would be for a completely different reason, so it should run now. And we can't pick things up yet. That's probably because we made a mistake right here. So we probably want to change these around. So if curSelected slot is equal to no, is not equal to no, and then now it should work. We'll test it one more time. Still can't pick items up. So this is it, guys. No more problem solving. I figured it out. There's 2 small problems. We'll fix them and we will be done. So the first problem comes from right around here. Right here where we check to see if the current selected slot does not equal no. We want to make sure that it does equal no, and then we want to put it above the item stack part, like that. And now, down here, where we check to make sure it's not equal to null, we just want to remove that's not needed. Like so. Alright, that's one problem solved. So now, for the other problem, this one's pretty simple. All we're going to do is where we check to see if the mouse is pressed, and that it has not been pressed before. We want to remove that second part and copy it down to where collision detection is, so we check it right there. And then we'll move the has been pressed equals true to just below that if statement, just like that. Format it a little bit, make it look good, because guess what? This is it. That's it. We're done. So we'll start it up. As you can see, we have now a working inventory. We can stack items, we can move everything around, we can open and close the inventory, and so yeah, this is it for this episode. In the next episode, we are going to polish up the inventory, finish adding all of the features such as splitting the items and stuff like that. So we'll have a fully working inventory, and feel free to just change anything you want. This is super adjustable. You can change the size of the fonts, you can change the fonts, you can do pretty much anything. But until the next episode, I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you later.